Hello and welcome to another Arsecast Extra, as always, with James from Gutterblog. James, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Well, good morning, sir.
Well, it's good morning for me, Andrew.
Good morning to you from a good afternoon here, I guess.
It is, yes, exactly. How you doing today?
I'm okay, you know, just settling into the post-season stuff. Not sure how it's all playing out yet, you know, but I'm getting on by, hanging on in there, I think, you know.
Nice. I'm settling into my new life as an American.
I'm afraid of Americans. That's the song goes.
And justifiably so.
I'm joking. We love our American friends.
I'm still in Chicago.
Yeah.
I will be here for the duration of the summer. Pretty much.
Are you eating a deep dish pizza every morning for breakfast? Is that...
Trying not to.
Right.
The temptation is there, of course.
Yeah.
I don't want to return as the supersized version of myself.
Have you had a deep dish pizza? Because it always looks to me like it would scald your mouth, because it's basically a load of hot tomato on top of hot cheese.
Yeah, I've not had one yet.
Right.
I've got a birthday coming up. And I've earmarked potentially that might be the day to broach the deep dish pizza. Although a few things people have said about it have slightly put me off, I must admit. Not just the sort of the scalding implications, but it was described to me as more like a pie, like almost more like a short crust situation. Have you had one?
I mean, listen, I've never had a deep dish pizza in Chicago, but for a time in Dublin in the 80s or 90s, there was a restaurant, I'm pretty sure there must have been one in London as well, called the Chicago Pizza Pie Factory. And you could get these pizzas there.
You could get them in the supermarket, I remember. They were frozen. Mm-hmm. So presumably they were handcrafted here in Chicago.
Yes, packaged
and then cryogenically frozen to be distributed in Iceland stores in the UK. You know?
Iceland.
I imagine that was the definite process that they followed.
I was trying to figure out why the pizzas would go from Chicago to Iceland, then
it's
to the UK.
Route, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a downhill journey, you see. Maybe that's
for those who don't know. We had a store in the UK. I still have it, called Iceland, which sells frozen goods. But you know, it is confusingly named after a country. Anyway, I'm here in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I mentioned I have a birthday coming up, a significant birthday.
Yes.
And I think, I'm going to be 40 in about a week's time. And I think last night, my midlife crisis may have arrived at new depths as I, on a whim, went on my own to an EDM festival here in Chicago. I mean, to be honest, I'm doing almost everything here in Chicago on my own. The phrase "on my own" could be applied to pretty much anything that I'm currently doing. You know, I go for a walk on my own. In fact, Andrew, this is like, for me, this is really valuable company.
This is the most companionship you've been getting.
Exactly.
Right.
That's not strictly true. I do have some colleagues out here, but, you know.
Everything you're doing is soundtracked to the classic Michael McDonald and Patti LaBelle song, On My Own.
Exactly, yeah. So yesterday it was
That makes
Sunday.
me a bit sad, actually. Just sort of James traipsing around Chicago.
Oh, it's all right. I feel like I'm in a movie. But anyway, I was working yesterday on Sunday doing a lot of football stuff. And it got to about 5 p.m, maybe 4 or 5 p.m. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I finished work. It's the weekend. Where shall I go? And the answer was an EDM festival.
But I mean,
on my own.
How did you come to that decision? Because there must be, you know, a million things to do in Chicago. You could have gone to, I don't know, one of the Chicago places. The tall one.
I could have eaten a deep dish pizza.
You could have seen a game of the baseball with the chaps.
The Chicago Bear Fighting Championships.
That's it.
I just said, dear ChatGPT, I'm having a midlife crisis. What's my next course of action?
Okay,
no,
well.
the seed of the idea was planted the day before because I was at Soldier Field, which is one of the most American names for a stadium I can imagine, watching a friendly between a soccer friendly, no less, between the USA and Germany. And as I was leaving the stadium, I saw all these people with Hawaiian shirts and glitter on their face. And I thought, these aren't soccer fans. Where some of them are, but the rest of them, where are they going? And I ascertained they were attending this festival called Beyond Wonderland, an Alice in Wonderland themed EDM festival. And I guess at some point over the 24 hours, a plan formulated in my mind that Gunnerblog would attend Beyond Wonderland. And so I did. I actually had a very fun time. I am a fan of doing things on my own. I don't know about you, Andrew, but I find it quite exhilarating to sort of be in a crowd of people. And just like, for example, it got to about 10 p.m. and I was like,
I can go home.
I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
And there was no brokering. There was no, negotiation with Camille or anyone else. I could just walk out of there into the night. That music accompanying me again as I disappeared into the darkness.
You're free and easy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I do like that as well. I do like that. The sort of complete control over, what you're doing and when you're doing it. You do it when you feel like it. I'm going to go
and
have a drink, or I'm going to just sit over here for a bit.
Yeah, lovely. I did text you, send you a video because some DJ who, he'll have to forgive me, I didn't know who anybody was because I'm 40, was doing a remix of, who's that Scottish fella?
Lewis Capaldi.
Yeah. If you can imagine.
That one, but to a proper house beat, yeah. Maybe I can
sample that and you'll get much the same effect.
I mean, that must have been the highlight of the night. Was that the point at which you said, this can't get any better?
I think, that's the bit where I was like, I don't think my life peaks after this. And also, I saw a DJ set from Rebecca Black. Are you aware of who Rebecca Black is?
Did she do the Friday song?
She was the high school girl who's, I believe the story was that her parents effectively sort of paid for her to make a little single that went viral, and she sort of became an accidental viral star. But she has reclaimed that identity. She's gone through that fire. And I believe she is now sort of a fairly well-respected, slightly kitschy and trading on that reputation.
Sure, why not?
A DJ now. She did play Friday, of course, to close her set. How could she not, Andrew? Or even though it was Sunday,
there's the irony. It's classic stuff.
So that's what I've been up to. I suppose I should talk about the football match I went to see, maybe more than the EDM festival. Maybe.
Was it more interesting? It was Germany against the USA. I suppose there was some Arsenal involvement, obviously, with Kai Havertz opening the scoring very early on.
Waka waka, Kai Havertz scores early again.
Not too early this time.
No, not too early. 5 minutes into the... Was it 5 minutes into the Champions League final? It was 2 minutes into this game. He rose highest to nod home a free kick, and he then set up Havertz, I think, for the winner.
I think it was Leroy Sané. Was it?
Oh, yes.
I think that's what I read.
I think you're right. I don't know where I've got Havertz from. You know what? You know where I've got Havertz from? Is that USA 1, Germany 2. I saw somebody
who looks just like him at the EDM festival. He was a DJ. No?
Yeah. It was Sane, you're right. Forgive me. Sorry about that, Leroy. And they don't look particularly like Havertz and Sane, so I don't really know how I've done that. As I said, it was a big night on my own at the EDM festival. But there was quite a lot of Arsenal interest in the game. So obviously Kai Havertz started. Nathaniel Brown, the Frankfurt left back. That we're supposedly tracking, who looks destined for Bayern Munich, I think. Started for Germany. Trying to think, there was a bit of Austin Trusty came on.
No way.
Oh yeah.
Wow. You're living the
Gideon
dream.
Zelalem is the manager of the USA now.
Good old Gideon.
Danny Carbassiun is his assistant.
Frankie Simek.
Frankie Simek is
the guy.
Simek played up front. No, actually, Flo Balogun played up front. That was another point of Arsenal.
Of course.
Relevance. And Anthony Robinson scored an absolutely incredible goal. One of the best goals I've ever seen in the flesh. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw the clip of it. He absolutely smashes that ball, doesn't he? Into the, I don't know, it's not top corner. It's sort of right there.
It's not quite corner, is it? It's just top.
Yeah, it's a bit like the goal Thierry Henry scored against Manchester United when they had that guy in goal, whose face I did not care for. I think he was from Northern Ireland. Roy Carroll.
Yeah. And I think in the words of Martin Tyler, I think he says, it flashes in. And that is a good description because it's sort of, it's a crazy goal that. The ball moves a fair bit. That's when Jose Reyes, God rest his soul, went for a little cuddle with Thierry. Do you remember?
Yeah. Did he get
Thierry
the shrug off?
Gave him the little brush off.
Oh.
There was a lot of analysis about that brush off.
I mean, that was pre-social media, really, as well, wasn't it? Imagine what it would have been like.
It would have been
days.
Huge, Andrew. Can you imagine? We would have had to do a special podcast about that.
Yeah.
So there we go. I watched that, and it was good to see Kai. Although chatting to the German media before the game, they're very unenthused about their chances at this World Cup.
Generally,
right. I think because they're sort of on schedule to face France in the quarterfinals, and I think it's sort of seen as kind of a pointless exercise because they think they'll go out against France, whatever happens. Which seems a bit defeatist, you know. The French do love an implosion, and the Germans are the Germans. So I have more faith in them than they do.
That is top-tier World Cup analysis.
Thanks. That's what they pay me the big bucks for. But they're not, the nation is not, I think, united in their admiration for Kai as the starting nine. I think. What
do they want? Fulkrug?
Undav is the new Fulkrug,
right?
I believe.
Everyone's always looking for the new Fulkrug. You see, that's the problem. It's just fucking
exactly. It's tricky for Kai, isn't it? I do feel that maybe until sort of quite recently at Arsenal, he's one of those players who there is always that sort of discussion around him. You know, there's everywhere he's been. I feel like there's almost always been that ever since he left Leverkusen. Been that discussion of like, yeah, he's good, but is he the guy?
Is he as good as Fulkrug?
Is he? Yeah, exactly. The grass is always greener when it's growing on Fulkrug.
I mean, didn't that Undav guy used to play for Brighton? Am I right?
Dennis Undav.
Feel like he did.
Yes, he did, mate.
Right. There you go.
He's at Stuttgart. I remember him being pretty bad at Brighton, to be honest with you.
Me too.
I remember him coming on in a game against us.
He sort of got that look of that guy who's like, yeah, you were the best striker in your school, But now you're just one of those guys. You're like Mega Fulkrug. I don't know.
He scored when they beat us 3-0 at the Emirates.
God.
Yeah. So anyway, Havertz is winning that battle seemingly.
Who else did they got? They got Voltemata, I guess. Is he in the squad?
He's had quite a weird season too. He is in the squad, yeah. But he kind of finished the season playing in midfield, didn't he? Do you remember he came on in midfield against us and set up that chance which was put over the bar?
Vaguely.
Remember that guy, the guy they bought from Brentford, and he should have scored.
Wissa. Johan Wissa, yeah.
We don't have to think about that ever again now.
No. It's already gone. Already gone from my mind.
I also I met Mauricio Pochettino.
I see. And how did that go?
Well, I told the reason
I told him.
I was walking past. I was in a mall. I'm using all the words, Andrew.
Yeah. Did you go on the sidewalk?
I went on the sidewalk. Yeah. I took an elevator. I did all the things. I ate some eggplant. For me, that is the weirdest one.
Eggplant.
Eggplant is aubergine. Or coriander's mental as well.
Yeah. What's it called? I can't remember.
Coriander in American.
Google Translate. Translate English to American, please. Coriander.
Cilantro.
Yeah.
That's just mad. Anyway, I was walking past a Hugo Boss store and there was a queue outside of about 6 people.
That many?
And I was like, why are they queuing for Hugo Boss? And then I looked on the door and it was like, Mauricio Pochettino appears here in like 8 minutes. And so being the intrepid journalist that I am, I followed this queue into Hugo Boss and watched Mauricio Pochettino give like a very strange kind of press conference about how it's important to look good as well as play good. Fulfilling his commercial obligations, shall we say.
So you went in, 1 suit, please, and a quick word with Mauricio Pochettino. Would that be okay?
Basically, there was some sort of absurd deal where if you spent $350, you got a football signed by Mauricio Pochettino. But I don't think any of these people in that queue were spending $350 in Hugo Boss.
So
for starters, they were all wearing football kits.
Right.
And yes, so anyway, then he sort of did the rounds a bit of this thing. There was free food, free drink. That bit was good. And I did meet him. I told him I was from London. And he went, Spurs fan? I said,
No,
thank you. He went, Chelsea? I went, absolutely not. And then I informed him that I was an Arsenal fan. And consequently, even though I have no ill will to his nation that he is coaching in this tournament necessarily, I cannot wish him all the very best. And then we parted. And I left, once again, to my backing track of Lonely Man wandering the streets of Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this.
Go on, ask away.
Did he not, when you said you were an Arsenal fan, was he not very pleased for his big friend Mikel Arteta?
That's true, actually. He didn't mention that.
Maybe they've had a falling out.
Maybe. I mean, famously, Pochettino wanted Mikel to go and work for him, didn't he? At Spurs at the time. How different things might have been. But Mikel did not do that. But yeah, I believe they are good pals. He looks good, Poch. I'd say, head to toe in Hugo Boss, of course. Mm-hmm. From his hat to his shoes. Also, this was the night before the game, and his coaching staff were with him at this party. And I was like, surely you've got better things to be doing. Surely that you could be reviewing set pieces, in case you concede from one 2 minutes into the game tomorrow.
That kind of nonsense preparation is not for Mauricio Pochettino. No part of that. I mean,
he did attract sort of controversy for getting his laptop out during a water break. Did you see this?
No. No.
So they've got these sort of official water breaks for the World Cup.
Get your $20 waters.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And let me tell you, they are massively Americanized. The one they had during the friendly, like as soon as it happens, big pop music over the PA. Do you know what I mean? Like
not just a break. It's a small party, a small EDM festival.
Exactly that. Rebecca Black on the decks in every stadium. And yes, it's like an official timeout, I guess, to use the local terminology. And Pochettino in the US's friendly against Senegal, during such a break, got out a laptop and was sharing clips and analysis with his team on a laptop. And that's provoked a debate about whether that is within the rules. And FIFA have said, well, there's no rule against it. So for now, laptops at the ready.
Right. I mean, that would be an interesting development. This is, I presume, stuff that happened in the game, not just random clips. He's not sort of showing.
I think it was like cat memes mainly. Just funny stuff he'd seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love it.
And then I did watch another couple of games yesterday just on the TV. I watched Martin Odegaard score for Norway.
Did he? I sort of yesterday passed me by a little bit, so I'm not aware of this. I did see a picture of Odegaard doing the rounds on Blue Sky, and I was slightly worried that he was.
Was it a picture of him just lying down in the sun? Was it that one?
It was. He was sort of training. He had the ball at his feet, and his leg muscles were very, very well defined, but maybe too well defined.
Yes.
Have you seen that one?
Well, I've not seen that. I will have a look.
Let me send it to you now. I'll send it to you
now. He's like minus 3% body fat at this point.
Yes, there is. His muscles are eating all the no fat he has.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is quite striking actually, because there've been some clips doing the rounds of socials since the title win of All or Nothing. And when you look at Martin Odegaard's, the difference in his physicality, even in his face from then to now. I mean, All or Nothing may well be the name of the diet plan he's been on.
With emphasis on the nothing.
Yeah. It is a striking transformation.
Is that real, or is it one of those kind of, I don't know, has it been slightly doctored? I don't know.
This picture you show me, wow, yeah.
There's some muscle definition there.
That's interesting. So just for the listener, what I'm seeing is, well, Martin Odegaard's insides, effectively. It's like, that the drawing of the man who hasn't got any skin, It's like you see all the sinews and the muscles and the connective tissues. So I feel like I'm looking into Martin Odegaard, and not from the angle I would choose.
No.
So, yeah. Anyway, there was also part of the reason the pictures I thought you were referring to, I think the Norway international squad were pictured.
Yes.
Acclimatizing to the heat. It was basically just a series of photos of them seemingly just passed out on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did like their Viking pick, their pre-tournament.
Very cool.
That was very good. I also very much enjoyed the France players taking the mick out of Shirky. Have you seen that one?
No, I've not seen that.
So the way they did their they did their sort of team photo, and he was kind of standing awkwardly at the front in a kind of weird pose, and then all the France players that had a picture taken. Here it is. I'll send it to you. Also good. I should remember to try and put these into the post, into the show notes, so people can see what the hell it is we're talking about. Podcasting being a very visual medium as well, so you can have a look at that one. Look. So you can see Shirky at the top there, and he's sort of scrunched in, and then all the France players.
That's very, very, very funny.
That is good.
I mean, it is hard to know what to do with your hands sometimes, but Cherky's choice there, disastrous.
Yeah, not good. Never live it down. Never live it down. Speaking of...
Yes, Odegaard scored against Morocco
Okay.
in New Jersey, and it was a very Odegaard-y goal, a pullback from Oscar Bob. One of the more satisfying names in football, Oscar Bob. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he kind of arrived onto it and finished into the far corner. So yeah, that was nice to see. Nice to see him.
Nice to see
he's
yeah.
still doing his thing. But it is sort of surreal and mad that all these players are about to embark on an expanded World Cup after such a draining season.
Yes.
It does feel bonkers.
It does a bit. I'm just looking at the goal here. Okay. Oh, left foot, near post. Nice finish. I like it. Could you use a few more of those for us, please, Martin, if you wouldn't mind?
Well, this is it. It's kind of it's what we used to say, a sort of typical Odegaard goal.
Yeah.
I've not seen too many of those recently.
No, we need more. We need more. I was saying, speaking of France, I believe we're signing the next William Saliba from PSG. Were you aware of this? Of course you're aware of this. You're the transfer guy. You know everything about transfers.
Who? The boy Mbemba?
Mbemba. Emmanuel
Has there been any more
Mbemba.
news on that today?
No, I don't think so. But apparently he is the next William Saliba. And I know this is a dangerous road to go down because, you know, we spent many years going after the next Patrick Vieira and never really succeeding until maybe Declan Rice. But I'm on board with that as a concept, you know, because I think the current William Saliba is really, really excellent.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you can get the next one, and the one after that, and then all William Salibas in perpetuity, I think that's pretty good strategic planning from Arsenal.
When it comes to William Salibas,
yeah, you need all of them. Yeah, exactly.
And I like the idea.
Next one.
How many can we get? How far can we take this? You know.
Yeah, we'd be like the old, when they used to give out about the EEC. Before it was called the European Union, the Butter Mountains and all those kinds of things. We'll just have a stockpile of Salibas in warehouses all across Europe, you know. Might be easy. Save on jet fuel. You know, you're going to play in France, just rock up at the Saliba depot in Paris, you know, Saliba depot in Milan, wherever it might be. Just pluck out your Saliba and off you go.
Absolutely.
Simple.
I think, I mean, there is a bit of interest there. I don't know if it will happen, but he's certainly a player Arsenal know and quite like. Seemingly, I saw Phil Costa saying that he thinks he'll end up as a left back, and that has been mentioned.
Exactly. Well, I mean, then it's definitely happening.
Then it's a done deal. I suppose.
Done deal. Yeah. How could it not happen?
But out of contract as well, so I think can be signed for a minimal fee. But yeah, other than that, transfer talk.
It's quiet. You'd expect it to be quiet, though, wouldn't you? At this point in the in the summer, with the World Cup coming, starting on Friday, it is going to be, I think, maybe weirdly quiet. I guess whatever deals you might do are for non-World Cup players, right? If you're going to bring people in.
We've heard about Mbemba, we've heard about Jeremy Monga of Leicester.
What do we sort of know about that or make of that? Like, if we maybe tie those two things together, is there something maybe with a question about this? I think we might have, but I can't. We had a question from Luca Skywalker, who says, lots of bits and bobs surrounding youth recruitment. Is this a major focus for the club this summer? And are incomings in the youth team a separate agenda from what the plan is regarding the first team? For example, is Monga an option on the left or just layering underneath the first team? And I suppose the other way, maybe just to think about it or to try and put it in context, is the departure of Per Mertesacker means that, you know, things have changed at academy level and there may well be, you know, some focus on that and a new way of doing things slightly.
Yeah, I think that these kinds of players, which are generally termed sort of emerging talent signings, they sort of sit almost between the academy and the first team. And I think the expectation is that they are potential first team players, or if not, players who perhaps will generate revenue through transfers in future. You know, if they don't make the grade at Arsenal, they should retain a certain degree of value or increase in value to the point where Arsenal can make a bit of money out of them. And this process has been ongoing for a little while now. We've seen Arsenal sign a lad from Ireland, from Shamrock Rovers, Victor Osimhen, for an Irish record fee. We've seen Arsenal sign the Quintero twins from Ecuador, who I think are probably the most highly thought of so far in terms of their ceiling and their potential ability. And I think Monga and Mbemba would be filed in that same category. So I think in terms of what would their immediate role with the team be, I think it would probably be fringes of the first team. You know, probably they're the sort of level of player that could and would train quite regularly with the first team, but I wouldn't necessarily expect them to be making a ton of appearances quickly. But I think that's part of it, the idea that, yes, they would strengthen our under-21s, for example, at Champions League level, but they'd also be part of the wider first-team group that Mikel Arteta works with day to day.
What do we know, if anything, about who is going to replace Per Mertesacker? Is that an ongoing process? Is there something close? You know, is it an internal appointment, or are they looking for somebody external? Do we know anything at all?
Yeah, I think we're waiting on that. I mean, quick Per Mertesacker story as an aside, which is that obviously he's left the club now, but on the night Arsenal won the league, what a lovely thing to say, when Bournemouth hosted Man City, there was obviously a kind of pilgrimage to the outside of the stadium, and big party that night in town. I ended up there myself. But I'm assured that as people kind of cavorted and danced on the concourse around the stadium, Per Mertesacker at one point appeared in the window of the Emirates along with Ray Parlour, kind of reveling in the celebrations. Why they were inside the Emirates Stadium that night, I do not know.
That is the most random duo possible, isn't it? Per Mertesacker and Ray Parlour.
It makes me think it must have been some sort of corporate event or staff event, or I don't know. Obviously, perhaps they're in some kind of ambassadorial role. But yeah, I'm assured. And to be fair, I don't think people would mistake the figure of Per Mertesacker.
No.
There aren't too many 6'6" Germans wandering around Islington. But in terms of what happens next, I don't know. I think there's been a reshuffle, hasn't there? James Ellis, who was the technical director, he was kind of leading the appointment for a new academy director. He's now gone, not been replaced, so there's been a restructure. The new academy director will now report into Andrea Berta. Andrea Berta's actually leading the recruitment on a lot of these emerging talent signings.
He just wants to sign players as small as he is.
Yeah.
Sick of signing these giant guys.
Players. Yeah. Full stop, it seems. But, so yeah, we're waiting for news on that, and I've seen a bit of speculation that it might drag on. You know, it may be a little while before it's resolved, but it's sort of the big kind of executive appointment in the club that is absent at this point in time. So yeah, I think we'll have to wait and see on that.
We'll wait and see. The England lads will be hooking up properly with the England squad this week. I think Madueke, Rice and Saka were they given a bit of time to just sort of decompress a little bit after the season and after the Champions League final. They weren't involved in England's win over New Zealand.
New Zealand. And Eze as well.
Of course.
I gather Eze and Madueke, footballers are mad. I mean, they were given like 3 days off, and I think Eze and Madueke have been doing like some training together. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it might be the one-on-one coach that Madueke uses, but they've been doing a load of sessions in their time off. So there you go. Not even sure how much rest they necessarily had, but they're back with the England group now. As is Ethan Nwaneri, by the way.
Yeah, he was on the bench. Didn't get off the bench the other night. But do they just sort of say, go home now to him when Saka and the boys arrive? Or does he just kind of stick it out as part of the experience? Hell of an experience, isn't it? You know, like, I'm sure maybe he'd rather be doing something else with this summer. But, you know, going to a World Cup and being part of that sort of big England squad might be interesting in terms of his own professional development.
I think so, yeah. And I think it's a reminder of sort of the esteem in which he's held. I mean, they took 3 or 4 young players who are all meant to be big prospects. One of them actually made their debut in the New Zealand game. Rio Ngoma, is it?
Ngoma, yeah.
Ngoma, yeah. And Ethan, I imagine he gets released at this point in time to enjoy his summer, but probably worse things you could be doing than being around the England camp ahead of a World Cup. They presumably have another friendly in a few days' time, England, but I don't know. Don't know quite who it is.
When do England play their first? Their
first group game is the 17th, and that's Croatia.
Right,
it's always Croatia, isn't it? It's always Croatia. And then final friendly is a week before that, June 10th. They play Costa Rica.
Joel Campbell?
Is Joel Campbell in the squad?
I don't know.
If he is, get out while you can, Joel.
Well, yeah.
And then June 23rd, England-Ghana.
Okay.
Bit of a reunion there with a familiar face. So interesting times. But in Arsenal terms, the only other thing I thought I might mention is to ask what you made of the reported Real Madrid interest in Riccardo Calafiori.
Well, you know, it made me a little bit sad, I have to say, because I do really like him as a player. Absolutely. I think he's a fantastic player. It's one of those where I think, you know, if I try and step back and look at it from an objective point of view, do Arsenal have to consider the injury record or the fitness issues that he has if the offer is right from Real Madrid? I think if he's a guy who's fit for 35, 36 Premier League games a season, you don't let him go. But he hasn't really been that guy. You know, his first season was quite punctuated by injury. Second season was very good in the first half, and then there were some issues in the second half. It's one of those where I would be sad to see him go because he's just such a likable character and a likable footballer as well. But I sort of recognize that Arsenal might think, okay, if we can get some money for Riccardo Calafiori and maybe make a bit of profit on Riccardo Calafiori, it's something we have to consider. Not to mention the fact that it will, you know, allow Mikel Arteta to do his favorite thing, which is to buy a left back.
That is true.
I don't know.
That is true.
I mean, are we aware of how real or otherwise the interest is from the Madrid side of things? Because you always take transfer stories with a pinch of salt, right? But if there's legs to it from the other side, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of on my list for today, actually, because the Athletic are doing their sort of weekly deal sheet tomorrow, and I'd like to, you know, speak with a bit more of authority on that. But my early inquiries suggest there has been at least a tentative expression of interest. I mean, at the time, Madrid still had an election going, which, you know, is
that over now?
I think that is now over.
Did I think your man win again?
Florentino and Jose, of course, were successful. So I know when Arsenal signed Calafiori, they believed that they were at risk of being kind of beaten to the punch by Real Madrid when they closed the deal. I don't know if you remember, but they closed it quite hurriedly, and I think they accelerated it because they heard the footsteps of Madrid behind them. So I think there is a bit of longevity to the interest. I am really torn about Ricky, to be honest with you, because I like so much about him, as you've just outlined. I think he's a unique player. I think he seems like a top guy. There's very many excellent clips of him reveling in the celebrations, by the way.
I love the picture. It's a still of the video. I think it's Sophie Ellis-Bextor doing the song, and he's just sort of looking at her in that moment. It's classic Calafiori. Classic.
Yeah. There's a good one of him and Declan Rice singing Adele as well.
Less said the better.
And yeah, but I just thought the whole, like the bus, everything, I just thought he was like right up for it. And but equally, he's made 33 Premier League starts in 2 seasons, which
it's not terrible, but I understand. This is where I understand why Arsenal might be swayed if the offer was good enough. It looks like Perez is going to like throw some money around because he won the election against somebody called Enrique Riquelme.
Yes, who had been linked with Mikel Arteta. I don't know if you followed that at all.
No, I hadn't noticed that.
Riquelme, the story was sort of bouncing around a bit in Spain that Riquelme had Arteta in his sights for the managerial post. Again, I can't speak to its credibility, but and Florentino's been sort of playing guess who, hasn't he, with his transfer targets?
Yeah, he's saying he's going to make a bid of at least 150 million euros on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, for a particular player, and it's believed that player is Michael Olise.
Yeah.
So, if he's ready to throw 150 million at Michael Olise,
is there a number for Calafiori that I think we paid about 40 million, didn't we? Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're making a profit, I don't know, if you're making 55, 60.
Yeah, if someone comes in at 60.
I think that might be where Arsenal, give it real consideration, as much as we'd all be loath to lose the Italian stallion. You could understand why they might give that a bit of thought.
Well, we're spending a big chunk of change on Piero Hincapié this summer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
50 million euros or something like that. So, yeah, it's sort of one of those stories that, like, you can't just dismiss it and say, no chance, It's one where, like, if the offer was right, I could see the club taking it into quite careful consideration. So let's wait and see if one develops.
The only other little bits I've seen of transfer gossip are Martinelli and Bayern Munich. I saw that mentioned, but beyond that, there's not really a great deal going on, inward or outward at this point. But I'm sure.
I was going to say, I mean, if they have got 150 million burning a hole in their back pocket, but it's kind of the wrong flank for Martinelli, isn't it?
Yeah.
And does he want to go there now to play on the left? I mean, I think Luis Diaz has been pretty good for them. Lennart Carl, who sadly will miss the World Cup with injury, but I think...
Isn't it brilliant that they have a player called Lenny and Carl?
It is nice, yeah.
I love that. Like, were the parents just like, yeah, we really like The Simpsons, so surname's Carl. We'll call him the German equivalent of Lenny. Lenny and Carl.
I know. So, yeah, I think he can play off the left a bit too. So I don't know. Again, Martinelli's one where you'd say if a good offer came in, I certainly think the club would consider it. But I have to wait and see if it happens.
All right. Well, why don't we take a little break here?
Yeah, we must, because I need to find my charger, Andrew.
Okay.
Because this laptop is going to die.
Okay. Well, in that case, we will take a break and we will come back with some of your questions in part 2 right after this. Welcome back to the Arsecast Extra. This is part 2 of the show where we answer the questions that you sent to us on Blue Sky at gunnerblog.bsky.social and at arseblog.com. Also on the Arseblog Discord chat server, which you get access to if you are an Arseblog member on Patreon. World Cup is in the I was going to say horizon. Is that right? Yes,
it's on the horizon.
It's on the horizon. I was thinking of the rear view mirror, through which you can also see the horizon. If depending on
just in the other direction,
which way you're facing. Anyway, the World Cup is coming up.
Point.
Yeah. I enjoyed this from Cesc Fabregas, who said, "I got Italy in my works World Cup sweepstakes. How do you rate my chances?"
Not strong.
No. think you got fucked over there, buddy. Big time.
I got New Zealand in mind, and I believe they are the lowest ranked
right.
team. So
okay,
not the best.
I didn't do one.
No. I mean, the problem, there was discussion in my family of should we do a World Cup sweepstake, and then someone said the trouble is probably only about 6 teams can actually win. You know what I mean? So it feels less exciting.
Yeah. You also need a fucking enormous family to be able to do a World Cup sweepstakes.
Yeah. I've got one of those. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine.
68 teams, 93 teams, whatever it is. It's a lot of teams.
It is a lot of teams.
It is a lot of teams.
Can
I start you off with this one? Because there's been a lot of talk about this player in Arsenal.
Okay.
And Stuart on Blue Sky, who's at Stuart91.bsky.social, says, "Do you want to sign Morgan Rogers? And if so, where do you want him to play?"
I think I do want us to sign him, but almost more than I know where I want him to play. Like there is something that doesn't quite add up about what I've just said, and it does give me pause for thought on the signing. So I really, really like the player, and I really enjoy watching Morgan Rogers, and I think he can be a match winner. But equally, I do slightly struggle to see the fit. And I slightly worry that last summer we bought a player in Eze, sort of thinking we could use him off the left, and then ultimately kind of deciding we couldn't really. And I slightly worry we might make a similar mistake with Rodgers.
Mistake is doing some heavy lifting there.
Well, yeah, true. I mean, the mistake of sort of thinking he's something he's not. That's what I mean.
Or deciding that he is not something that many people think he is, even with that sort of incident, if you call it that, at Villa Park. Like a lot of people have advocated throughout the season for Eberechi Eze to play off the left, which he did a couple of times towards the end of the season as well. Yeah. And did very well.
I know. But we have to always sort of see these signings through the prism of our manager and his proclivities and preferences. But I do really like Morgan Rogers. I mean, I would be excited about it, but I can't necessarily write down the team now and tell you where he goes in it. I mean, maybe it means Eze going back to the left. Like maybe that would be one of the possible iterations of lineups we could field, to have Rodgers through the middle and Eze out wide rather than the other way around. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I kind of think he's got the ability to play centrally. I know there's a lot of people looking at him on the left as well, but I think he's just got this incredible ability around the box. I find his finishing, or his, what he can produce in the opposition box, and maybe just outside the opposition box as well, very tempting, I have to say, because we don't have too many players like that. Maybe Eze is the one, Eze is the one who can hit it from outside the box. He'll score the goals, or, he'll pop up inside the box. Some of the goals Morgan Rogers has scored for Aston Villa are absolutely ridiculous.
Free kicks.
Yeah. So I'm on board with it from that perspective, to bring that bit of extra threat, that bit of individualism that we've often talked about. But like you, I can't sit here now and say this is where absolutely he should play. I think he might play sometimes from the left. He might play sometimes, as one of either the left 8 or the right 8, depending on what way we set up our midfield. I think he's got that ability. So.
Yeah, and I think especially as our midfield has kind of evolved in shape over the course of the season at different times, it's sort of been almost like we've had a number 10 really in that position. When Eze has played there, he's played much closer to the striker. And I think really that's what Rodgers does and would do. He's a player I love. So, yeah, of course I would be excited about it. And he fits a lot of Mikel Arteta's kind of criteria in terms of the physicality, the athleticism, Premier League experience as well. Right kind of age, I think, to come in and make an impact.
Well, can I follow up on that then? Because I think that's an interesting aspect of what you just said, the Premier League experience. And Doozy123 on the Discord said, reading about Rodgers and Eli Jr. Krupi, something struck me. Under Arteta, the team seems to favour buying attackers from Premier League teams. Eze, Trossard, Jesus, Havertz, Madueke. On the other hand, the team's often gone to continental teams for midfielders and defenders like Timber, Zubamendi, Marino, Calafiori, blah, 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 blah. A few exceptions, obviously, like Rice and Gyökeres. And he asks, what could explain those trends? And do you think it is something as simple as Mikel Arteta looking at a player who has done it in the Premier League, demonstrated that they're able to do it in the Premier League, and he puts a really high value on that because, lots of players look good in other leagues and struggle a bit when they get to England?
Yes, I think that's true. And to be honest, I think that's more true than the kind of positional delineation. You look at players like Rice, Zinchenko, less successful signings as well. Raya, of course. Ramsdale was a Premier League signing. Ben White is a Premier League signing. Cedric Suarez was a Premier League signing. So I think he just has a preference for signing players who demonstrate their capabilities of doing it in England, front to back. Okay. And I expect that to be a factor this summer as well. And it's why why a player like Declan Rice, he went above and beyond. I think he's arguably overpaid at different points for Premier League players. Not so much Rice. I mean, as we all know, that was half price. Yes. But Ben White, 50 million quid at that time was a lot of money.
It was. I don't think you can say now we overpaid, but I understand, around that time there was a lot of debate about the fee and how high it was.
Yeah. I think that I think there's a premium on Premier League or maybe even more so English talent. And I think Arteta's shown himself to be willing to pay that. Well, speaking of English talent, I did see this rogue question. I feel like we get it every summer, Andrew. But ArsFan15 said, should Marcus Rashford be considered as a potential option?
How old is Marcus Rashford now?
He's 46 years old. No, he's now 28. To be 29 in October.
But until then, he remains 28. Because that's how it works.
We'll never stop doing that, the 28-29 thing. I think we could be 88 and 89 and we'll still be doing the 28-29.
Yeah, we don't know what else to do. We're just
It's Arsenal heritage.
I'm gonna say no, because look, he had a really good season at Barcelona, didn't he? Won the league there, scored some goals. I do remember, was it last January? And we were all like, hey, we've got to do something. We've got to get an attacker in. Do you remember? We kept our powder dry. And at the start of that transfer window, I think we were we were asked similar question about Marcus Rashford, and I was like, nah, we shouldn't do that. By the end of January, I was like, yeah, we definitely should. Just get that Marcus Rashford straight on in here. Because who knows, what a difference he might have made in those 6 months, because he did quite well for Villa and then got injured, I think. I think he's a good player, Marcus Rashford, but I don't know. I think we've kind of got to look in a different direction. I don't know really that we should be signing a 28-year-old who's going to be 29 in October. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think I can be convinced on this one. What about you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, his career's in a weird kind of limbo, isn't it? Because he's had 2 loan spells now, Villa and Barcelona. Neither have been converted.
Do you think he might have a role still to play at United? Because it felt like it was Ruben Amorim that he fell out with more than anything else. And now that it's all, Michael Carrick, former teammate maybe?
Yeah, I wondered that, but there's a lot of talk about Bayern Munich potentially coming in for him. Listen, I think he's a good player. I think he's been judged quite harshly at times. I think expectations on him have been... I don't think he's quite the player he was built up to be, but...
By Gabriel Paulista.
Yeah, exactly. But he's still very decent. I just think the salary and the age is not a good combination. It wouldn't be a smart thing to do. It might be fun for a year, but I don't think it would be wise business.
Yeah, it feels like the kind of deal we used to do, and maybe, when you're trying to build something, you can get away with moves like that a little bit more. But when you've built something and now you're looking to sort of augment it in a really interesting and strategic way, I don't think Marcus Rashford fits into that.
No, I think that's fair.
Right. We had a couple of questions about Ethan. We already mentioned him. Gala7 said on the Discord, do you think this season's results would have been vastly different if we gave all the Madueke minutes to Nwaneri? It feels to me like Ethan was probably good enough to take those minutes and at least match Nani's contribution, whereas Wise Marklar is a little more circumspect and says, is Nwaneri a classic case of a player becoming world-class when they're not playing? He's only ever shown glimpses and can't even get into Marseille's first 11. In my opinion, he's always looked and sounded a little disinterested and carries himself with a bit of an ego for someone with so much still to prove. I'm not sure that's the kind of character Arteta wants around the squad. Would it surprise you to see him leave this summer, even for a fee lower than we're all thinking?
It wouldn't surprise me. No, I think we've talked about that already, haven't we? Like in the run up to the window, that he's a player who might go. I'm not sure I fully agree on the sort of attitude or personality analysis there. I think Ethan, he's just a bit more shy and withdrawn than someone like Miles, for example. There are different kinds of confidence, and his is more of a quiet confidence, and I think that's okay. My questions are more around kind of opportunity and his role in the squad. The first question about the minutes given to Madueke, I think is a really fascinating one, because clearly there was kind of a technical decision within the club that Ethan would be a central player and whatever minutes he got would be in that role. But he was pretty good on the right. It's a bit of an Eze one, isn't it? Where it's like, we kind of discarded that quite quickly, I think. And I'm not 100% sure that was the right call. I don't think he has Madueke's explosiveness. He's a very different player. I'm not sure he has the acceleration and the dribbling ability to get in front of Mendes, for example, in the Champions League final in the incident that might have got us a penalty. Equally, his delivery, his finishing, his shooting from promising positions on that side of the pitch I would back to be more consistent than Madueke.
I mean, Madueke's season, this season, Madueke is 24 years of age with loads of experience at Premier League level and also abroad, obviously. 43 appearances, 8 goals, 4 assists in all competitions. Ethan Nwaneri in his first full season, where he really only started to make his breakthrough, I think, in the second half of the season, played 37 games, scored 9 goals and got 2 assists in all competitions at a much, much, much younger age and certainly much less developed physically and professionally than Noni Madueke. I remember we talked about this, and I remember you saying they don't really see him as somebody who is a right winger, and I kind of get it from the point of view that he's not classically a right winger. But you don't get too many players who come into a team at 17, 18 years of age and nearly get into double figures in their first season, which shows an ability, I think, to get into positions from the right where he can be really effective and score goals. So I was, a bit like you, a little surprised that they not gave up on it, but made that decision because he does feel like, Madueke feels more like a winger, right? Whereas Saka is more of a, I don't know, how would you say it? Just more of a footballer, right?
Yeah.
Do you know the distinction I'm trying to make here? Like, there's a...
Well, yes, it's like an Arsene Wenger winger, obviously he had his Theo Walcotts, but he also had his kind of wide tens, as it were.
Well, yeah, Saka's more of a Pires.
Yeah.
And Madueke is more of a Walcott, right?
Your Pires, your Nasris, your Arshavin. Do you know what I mean? Like these players who ostensibly started wide, but were really kind of creative number 10s. And yeah, Nwaneri's more in that mould for sure. I think he's such a fascinating one. I mean, again, one of the questions mentioned he's only shone in glimpses, but for me, that's kind of, in some respects, the beauty of the player is he only needs a glimpse. He only needs a moment, and he can finish. He can really finish, and that's something that I don't think it is. Presumably, it is coachable. It is teachable, but it also, for the best goal scorers, it's natural. And he seems to have it, that composure in those situations.
We talked about him having like a trademark finish, didn't we? And after his third Arsenal goal, you're going, oh, there's a very Ethan Nwaneri goal. And that's rare. That's rare.
Yeah. I think back to that brilliant goal he scored against Man City when we hammered them 5-1, was it?
Yeah.
I really do think there is a player there. We also have to say that this is the first time in 22 years that Arsenal are title winners, and consequently making the cut or making the breakthrough to that team is probably the most difficult it's been for more than 2 decades. So it's no great failure on Ethan's part if he is sold. It's just sort of a reality of the situation. But I would feel sorry to see him go, definitely. I still think there's a lot of untapped potential there.
Yeah, I agree.
This is a question from Cosmo Kramer, who says, looking back at our season, do you blame our attack faltering mostly due to a lack of chemistry, due to injuries, or due to a fundamentally imbalanced squad?
Oh. I mean, a lack of chemistry could also be highly informed by the injuries, right?
I agree, yeah.
So I think that certainly has played a part. Then it becomes this sort of question of like, is that something Mikel Arteta really wants? Does he want a blistering attack? Is that the focus of his football?
For me, that's the option that's missing there. Is kind of managerial emphasis.
That's where I think there was a conscious decision made this season, to be as obdurate and as strong as we could possibly be defensively. The one thing I will say, like, people talk all the time about, well, Arteta's just a defensive manager and that's what he wants. I cannot be convinced that he's happy when we win. Of course he's happy when we win. But I cannot be convinced that he goes 1-0 is enough or 2-1 is enough. That just doesn't tally at all with anything we ever hear from him in terms of how he wants to dominate, which is a word he uses quite a lot, right? And it's not just about having possession. I think when he talks about domination, he talks about like just completely dominating every aspect of the game, whether it's set pieces or whether it's possession or whether it's goals. So I think there is something that he will try and correct in terms of the course of this season, where those 1-0 games that gave us all heart attacks, you know, you're always going to get those in the season, but maybe not quite as many. Maybe not every game has to be a 1-goal win, you know? And it's easy to forget, I suppose, that there was, you know, the season 23-24 where we scored more goals than the Invincibles. We went on this sort of mad run. Do you remember we scored like 6 away at Sheffield United, 6 away at West Ham? You know, we could really put teams to like game over, and we all had a great time and relaxed. So I do think it is something he is more inclined towards than people think. But I think this season it was more a conscious effort because of the injuries we had. You know, Saka was out injured. Odegaard, like most of the season, in and out injured. Havertz out. You know, and as we saw, I think, you know, Havertz was his first choice striker, and I think that probably changes the way he sets his team up in certain areas as well. So, yeah, I think it's a combination of those things, but I don't think it's just the case that Mikel Arteta is like, I just want to grind out a load of 1-0s and that'll be fine. Yeah,
I think the injuries definitely are a big factor in terms of sort of fluency and relationships, and I completely agree with you that the chemistry kind of comes from that. But yeah, I think kind of tactical emphasis and ideology is a big part of it as well. And I'm curious to see the next evolution of this team.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Mikel does like to tighten the screws and shift things season to season. So I'm very intrigued to see where he goes next.
Rexblog.bsky.social says, would you take this transfer window? And this is what he has posited as a transfer window to be accepted or not. In Morgan Rogers for 80 million. In Sandro Tonali for 65 million. Out Gabriel Martinelli for 45 million. Out Ethan Nwaneri for 40 million. And out Christian Norgard for a whopping 5 million.
Give me that again, Andrew. So in Rogers,
and
in Tonali.
And out Martinelli, Nwaneri and Norgard.
Yeah, it feels a little
light.
Light, doesn't it? Yeah. But then I guess he's keeping a lot of players there that we're sort of expecting to go. You know, like Gabriel Jesus, for example.
Yeah. He's got to go. He's going to go.
I think, I don't know if I would take that. I think that I think we might need a little bit more fresh blood than that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'm not saying we need 8 signings like we got last summer, but I do think we want to be in the kind of 3 or 4 space to feel like we've really freshened up the group and the squad, which I think might be necessary because bear in mind last season's title is the culmination for many of these players of like a 3 or 4 year fight. You know what I mean? I think we need just a little bit of refreshing.
No, it is important, isn't it? You know, to acknowledge the guys that have got you this far and then to sort of challenge them again. and say, hey, look, you did brilliant, but we need to sort of change the dynamic a bit, like he did last season when he brought in a lunatic to the coaching staff. Something like that on the pitch wouldn't be a bad thing at all. I mean, that's way too light for me. I think we probably need to shift a couple more players than that, and then we need to add more than Rodgers and certainly more than Tonali, who he's good, but I don't know.
I like Tonali, I must say.
I do like him. I don't know. There's just something about him when I see him play. I don't get this is a player that Mikel Arteta would connect strongly to vibes. I could be wrong, but just a few Newcastle games I watched and thought, oh, you know what, Arteta would not like that in terms of a bit of not chasing back, but certainly your defensive work. But then maybe we need to let the rear view handbrake go in a different mirror.
I think he will move this summer, Tonali, and I think it will be within the Premier League. Will Arsenal be there? I don't know. There was all that hoo-ha in January when they were sort of theoretically or supposedly offered the player.
Yeah.
By an intermediary, I think, rather than Newcastle themselves. We shall see. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good complement to what we've got. But yeah, who knows? Bum. Have you got one to hand, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I think we sort of need to get out of here and put this one out. But I enjoyed this one. We mentioned it earlier, the Real Madrid presidential election. And figgystein.bsky.social says, hey guys, let's say we lived in a world where the Arsenal had a presidential election at Real Madrid and both of you were fighting each other for the role. What would be your 3 promises going from this season to make your candidacy the best?
Wow.
So I guess we got to go one at a time.
Okay.
And I will, being the kind-hearted gentleman that I am, allow you to go first. So your first promise to the Arsenal fans to win them over so they can vote James.
To win them over.
See, you're not very convincing here. You wouldn't be good in politics. You need to be up there now, giving it the old, this is what I'm going to do for you. If you vote for James, this is my promise to you.
Bid.
Exactly. Galacticos, whatever.
I think my sort of big player promise would be Kvaratskhelia.
Oh, okay. You get a lot of votes for that. You would.
I think I'm putting him on my posters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On my leaflets.
Fuck. That was a good one. That was a good one.
When I go out shaking babies and holding hands, I've got leaflets with Kvaratskhelia on them.
Okay. Fuck.
Misspelled every single time. But
yeah,
in a different
of course. Way. My first promise is more parades.
Okay. What, parading last season's title again, or?
No, I mean, just it's I'm implying that we're going to win loads of stuff. Therefore, we'll have the parades. We'll have a parade for each of the trophies we win. Not one big parade. We'll do our Carabao Cup parade in February and have the FA Cup parade. Then the lads will be like, "Oh, we've got to go on our holidays." I'm, no, you don't. We've got our Premier League parade next week. And the week after that, it's the Champions League parade. Parades galore. So there you go.
Nice. My second sort of policy that I would run on would be... Oh, it's tough, that. I think stadium expansion.
Okay.
Yeah, stadium expansion. Because more fans want to get in that ground.
That's true.
If it's all possible.
That's true. My second one was also stadium related. I would just make sure that everyone could get a signal inside the stadium, expanded or otherwise.
That's good. Yeah.
Just get a phone signal inside the stadium. So.
I think my third one may surprise. Is also stadium related.
Mm-hmm.
It may surprise some people, but I experienced something the other day in the US which blew my mind. It was a toilet which has over the toilet seat like a kind of cellophane plastic wrapping.
Mm.
And what you do before you, or I guess after you have sat on the toilet, you press a button and the cellophane sort of disappears into the toilet and is replaced with new clean cellophane.
Mm.
So essentially you're sitting on a clean surface every single time. My pledge to you is that I will install that at the Emirates Stadium in every toilet.
Okay.
We might have to sell a few players to meet the cost. We may suffer for it on the pitch.
But by goodness, if you need to sit down in the stadium, you'll have a hygienic experience.
Let's be honest, as it is currently, I would rather shit myself than sit on one of those toilets at the Emirates Stadium.
No, I agree, yeah.
If you could even get in there.
You never can. I've never tried.
All those lads hovering around the lavatories for some reason.
Yeah.
Excitable young lads. But let's just say you could get in there. I mean, you'd be better off going in the sink.
I got to say, like, of all the places to choose to do that particular business, a football stadium is really about the last place.
No, I know, but what happens if you're in that situation and then you want to know that you're sitting on a clean surface? And with my technology, which I've stolen from the US,
all right,
we could achieve that.
All right, my third pledge is that every week Gunnersaurus will be a former Arsenal player.
Nice. Will we ever know who?
Maybe towards the end of the season we'll have a guessing game. If someone guesses, they can kick the ball into the goal from halfway and they win $1 million. I think I've been infected.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I think I've been infected by your US stadium experience.
My World Cup fever.
I was thinking about Sausage Dog Lady as manager of the women's team, but I'm not sure that would work.
Academy manager? We need an academy manager.
Yeah. I'm sure she'd do a great job. She would do a great job. So what is your plan today? What are you going to do on your own today, James?
Great question. I'm gonna tidy my apartment on my own.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna find somewhere to watch the third game of the NBA Finals. That's sort of that's the bit of American culture that's most infected me, is my sort of interest in the NBA Finals. Because, the Knicks are kind of, I guess they're kind of the Arsenal of the NBA in that they've had like a 40-year drought.
And they're playing Spurs, aren't they? I don't know anything really about basketball.
And there's the kind of, there's the Mamdani connection, right? So
Big Z.
I'm rooting for the Knicks, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, you can't root for a team called Spurs.
There's no way.
It's not possible. Like,
even though one of the Knicks players called out a guy in a press conference for wearing some Arsenal merch. Did you see this?
No, I didn't.
His name is Josh Hart. And he like in a recent press conference spotted a guy after the Champions League final wearing some Arsenal merch. So a reporter and was like, haha, you lost. London is blue. But I don't like Josh Hart.
Okay. But the other Knickers guys.
The other four guys, or whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So, the Knickers. I'm watching the New York Knickers tonight.
Against the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah. What are you going to do, Andrew?
What am I going to do? I think I'm just going to lie down and go to sleep as soon as this podcast
you've been under the weather.
A little bit under the weather. Still remain quite under the weather. So I think I might just have a bowl of soup and then go to sleep which is the most old man thing I think I've ever said in my entire life. But I will be the better for it, I promise you that. All right, well, look, you go about your day to the Michael McDonald and Patti LaBelle soundtrack. That is so stirring. Thank you, as always, everybody, for being here and for listening and for downloading and subscribing. We really do appreciate it, as always. We'll have something for you a bit later in the week, ahead of the World Cup. Maybe we'll have a bit of a World Cup preview pod. Who knows? We'll find out whatever there is to talk about in an Arsecast later in the week. For now, though, take it easy, and we will catch you on the next one.
Bye-bye.